So good evening and welcome everybody to the Dougherty Family College Family and Loved Ones Information Session. My name is Brad Pullis. My pronouns are he, him, and I am the Associate Dean of Students at Dougherty Family College. And I'm excited to walk you through our agenda this evening. We will get started with a welcome. We'll give you an overview of what to expect for the DFC Summer Enrichment Program. We'll talk a little bit about academics, the supports available through disability resources, wellness and well-being at DFC. We'll touch a little bit about financial aid and also what you can do to help support your scholar while they're here at DFC, followed by some brief closing remarks. So to get us started, again, my name is Brad, and I'm excited to welcome your family and your scholars to Dougherty Family College in this experience that they will have with us for the next 2 years. And a huge, huge part of that start is going to be the Summer Enrichment Program, which we call SEP for short. So you hear us say SEP, we're talking about the Summer Enrichment Program, and that gets started next week. So we'll go over that to give you a sense of what to expect. So our summer enrichment program goals are to create a sense of belonging for our new scholars at DFC, to provide knowledge that will prepare them for the first day of class, to introduce them to faculty, staff, and supports available at DFC, to establish expectations and standards of college, and to introduce habits and behaviors that will foster success. So I'll give you a sense of what that looks like. Program week 1, you will see here on the screen, it has a bunch of information, but the important things to know are we have check-in starting at 8 a.m. on Monday, August 18th on the Minneapolis campus. So your scholar should have received an email from me in the last couple of weeks that has a campus map, it has parking information, the check-in location for the first day. So please encourage, if you haven't seen that, please go in and search your email for that, for a message from me that first day. And then throughout the rest of the week, breakfast and lunch are provided for the scholars. So if you get here early and check in on Monday, please know that once you check in, you're welcome to go grab breakfast if you want, and then we'll get started at 9 o'clock with our kickoff. One thing to note about transportation on day 1 is that we will be handing out the bus passes on Monday. So it's up to you to, each scholar to get to campus on that first day for a summer enrichment program. After that, we should have the bus cards to be able to use those for transportation every day thereafter. The bus cards are valid from, now until the end of the fall semester. And then in January, we'll give out new ones so that they have a new unlimited use bus pass for the spring semester as well. So we'll be pretty busy throughout the week. Every day, the scholars can expect to have the program schedule start at 9 o'clock in the morning. And again, if they want to get here earlier and have breakfast, they're more than welcome to. That's even better because then we know that they'll probably be ready to go at 9 o'clock once we get started. So we definitely encourage that. 9 o'clock to 3 p.m. is the general schedule. So that mirrors pretty much what scholars can expect to be on campus during the academic school year as well. So hopefully that is helpful to know. And we'll be going over a lot. We've got a bunch of sessions planned out throughout those 8 days of summer enrichment program. And we'll be really focusing on building that sense of community, having students feel like they're getting ready for what to expect when classes start on September 3rd. So we'll be really excited. Our team of faculty and staff is excited to meet your scholars and explain, a lot of the ins and outs of what to expect in college and how they can be supported here. Give you a glimpse of week 2 as well. So the second week of summer enrichment program is only Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And so again, it follows a similar structure, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day. And then following that Wednesday, we'll wrap things up and the scholars will have, starting that Thursday, Friday, they won't have summer enrichment program. Those days will kind of be off until classes start on Wednesday, September 3rd. A couple of things to remember again is be on the lookout for that email that I sent a couple of weeks ago to your scholars about parking info, campus map, the check-in location, which is Terrence Murphy Hall on List campus for the University of St. Thomas. We also have been encouraging students to go pick up their UST ID cards from the St. Paul campus. They will have received an email from the admissions office with those detailed instructions. So even, if let's say you haven't gone to the St. Paul campus to pick up your ID yet, that's okay. You can still do that tomorrow. The campus is open, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., the card office, they can go pick that up. And if they're unsure of where exactly to go, be sure to look for that email from admissions with instructions about how to pick up your UST ID card, because all the detailed information is in there. Again, students can begin checking in at 8 a.m. on Monday, August 18th. Plan that transportation ahead, at least for that first day. And there's really nothing else that's needed to bring on that first day except for just a positive attitude. We're going to do our best to help make sure that everybody's feeling welcome and excited to get started with us at Dougherty Family College. And so really that positive attitude is going to be important. And, we're going to bring ours with us as well as faculty and staff. So we really look forward to seeing your scholars. So to talk a little bit about academics at Dougherty Family College, I will now turn it over to my colleague, Sarah.
Good evening, everybody. It's really nice to have you here and to get this opportunity to meet you briefly. As Dean Pullis introduced himself, or me, I should say, I'm Sarah McCann, Associate Dean of Academics, and I can kind of walk you through some of the things that we see with students. So I meet with students on the academic side, so they'll get emails from me about registration and grades and making sure that they get this paper or that paper in. If they have a challenge with a faculty member, often I will work with them on that too, and certainly registration and withdrawals I do, as well as students who are worried about their grades. I wanted to really briefly go over some academic expectations here, but also some understandings and areas of conflict that our students sometimes get into with family when they start college. Since students for sure often think it's just an extension of high school, but it's a little bit different, right? We like to think we're very different. You students may have a different opinion of that. I started off at DFC as a theology teacher, so I have had the privilege of seeing students both as a faculty member teaching them and as an academic dean. And I can tell you with complete confidence that students who graduate from DFC are the ones who are able to put in the time and energy. Students walk in here with varying levels of skills, varying levels of confidence, varying levels of anticipation of what they're gonna be asked to do. But if they put in the time and effort from day one, they will be successful here. And I have never seen an opposite case of that. Some of their challenges that students come in typically that we see that can put them in kind of a danger zone grades wise is some fear that they won't be able to succeed. And so we like to tell students, it's good to be a little bit afraid, right? It's good to be a little bit nervous so that you put your best foot forward so that you start off strong and you do all the work. But we don't want you to be paralyzed by it, right? Showing up, doing the best you can every day will get you through. Time management has been historically a reason when students leave DFC, especially because of grades. It's very often a time management issue. And I will share with them next week at our SEP that students who kind of don't start off, strong, who falter a little bit in the beginning, can often have a lot of trouble catching back up. So we really encourage students to work absolutely as hard as they can from the beginning. Easier to take your foot off the gas pedal than to suddenly put it on at midterms. So if you see your student not doing homework, that's a question to ask them about. So, and students, you will have homework every day. We really celebrate families here at DFC. We celebrate communities and we celebrate culture. So when you talk to your students about what they're doing in class and things they're reading, you're going to see a lot of that. We believe your students are ready to join us now. They are ready for college and poised for success, and that they have a lot of skills, knowledge, and capacity that can be leveraged in their home communities, including their parents. So please know that you play a crucial role. Simply asking your students questions about what they're doing, how they're feeling about it, something interesting they learned that day, you'll be able to kind of see how that is integrated into our curriculum. And we love students sharing that with us and bringing their whole selves to our college. It is very important to us that students show up in authentic ways and that we reflect that. Finally, one big difference between high school and college that both students and parents need to know about is FERPA, which is a law that protects students' educational records. So unlike in high school, when a parent can kind of go into the school and say, let me know everything about a student, college is a little different. If you would like, as a parent, and your student would like to communicate with faculty or with me or with Dean Pullis about an issue, we need to have what's called a FERPA form on file. And that's just basically your student signing the form saying, we can talk to you about whatever realm they're allowing us to speak with you about. So it could be academics, it could be financial aid. So if you have a financial aid question, if you're not with your student and you call a financial aid advisor, they will need a FERPA to be able to talk with you. And really, that's just about protecting the student's educational rights. So feel free to ask your student about it. If you and your student would like to talk to one of us, we can mail that to your student and they can return it to me or Dean Pullis or somebody else as well, and we can be in communication with you around those issues. We are excited to see your students soon, and students were excited to see you soon.
Thank you, Dean McCann. So we also wanted to introduce you to some of our faculty mentors. So each of our incoming new students at Dougherty Family College will be assigned a faculty mentor who is kind of their guide throughout their 2 years while they're with us at Dougherty Family College. So they'll meet with their faculty mentor at least once a month, and they'll have regular correspondence, emails, regular contact with their faculty mentors. So we wanted to introduce them to you. And I think perhaps Dean McCann and I can alternate to introduce each professor here. So we were asked all of the faculty mentors to give their name, what course they teach, and answer the question, in your experience, what is one thing that you have seen scholars do that contributes to their success in your class or at DFC? So I will introduce Professor Allison Snyder. Professor Snyder teaches Math 101, which is our finite math course. And Professor Snyder says that successful students don't allow past negative experiences with math to define the future. They keep their mind and heart open to improving their understanding and increasing their enjoyment.
Talk about a big heart. You will not get one bigger than Dr. Lewis Porter. He is going to lead cohort 2, so you'll be lucky to have him if you are in cohort 2. Dr. Porter teaches first year English and is extremely compassionate, caring, very fashionable, and will really enjoy working with your students.
This is Dr. Monica Jarvie. She teaches Intro to Sociology. And her advice is studying and doing homework in the afternoons and evenings is really important. The college day doesn't end at 3 o'clock, even though classes are not in session. She says that students who stay at school or have a good study space at home to do homework, review notes, or participate in study groups often do better. If students think they have time after 3 p.m. every day for work or family duties, they sometimes struggle. Families can support their scholars by making sure there is time for study outside of the school day.
Dr. Martha Alonzo Johnson is the leader of cohort 4, and she teaches a human biology class. She is a delight in the classroom, highly rigorous, but also very friendly, and will talk to you about any sports team you are interested in sharing with her. She is really going to encourage students hopping on the supports bus early, going to the tutoring center, going to recitation, which is a weekly review program, to make sure those skills are maximized and that students know where they're headed throughout the semester.
This is Dr. Christopher Morales. He is the leader for cohort 5, and he teaches theology at Dougherty Family College. And he recommends that scholars get together outside of their classroom to study and work together on the course material. That's one of the reasons why we have students in these cohort groups as they start their first year, is so that they can work together in community with each other, support each other, and rely on each other to answer questions and really make sure that they're getting off to a great start. So he also says get to class early, and connect with your professors as well, as another important tip.
Professor Claudette Webster will be the leader of cohort 6. She's the other English faculty paired with Dr. Porter. So they'll teach 3 opposite groups of freshman cohorts in the fall. She really encourages warm relationships. And as you can tell by this photo, she embodies that. She is in many ways the heart of the faculty, one of the kindest people to ever work at DFC, while still maintaining a rigorous expectations in the English classroom.
Right. So with that, we mentioned a couple of the different kinds of academic supports, tutoring, recitation, but to give you a little bit more of a sense for what that means and what that involves, we would like to invite Professor Fabiana Oliveira, our literacy specialist, to say a few words more about the academic supports that are available at Dougherty Family College.
Hi, everyone. So we have an amazing space called Scholars Resource Center. There's where we have a great place. It's an amazing space that we have tutors, tutors who are DFC students or former DFC students, and that I'm sorry, and they could help students when, with any of the classes they're taking, any of the assignments they're taking. So it's a great space, great tutors, great snacks. And we also offer programs as well. If you see that students are struggling with GPA, we also offer some academic programs such as MAP, QTP, and some other ones that you're going to hear about.
Great, thanks so much, Fabiana. We have the Scholar Resource Center open every single day for scholars to take advantage of. So, we definitely encourage, when you have some downtime, get in there, work with some of the tutors, work with Professor Oliveira, work with our math specialists, and we will make sure that you feel supported and ready for all of those classes that you'll be taking this fall. Next, I would like to introduce our disability resources specialist on the Minneapolis campus. So Katie, I will turn it over to you.
Sure thing. Thanks, Brad. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Duffhausen, and I am the disability specialist that works at at the Minneapolis campus and specifically working with DFC students. So I mainly work with students who have disabilities or chronic medical conditions that require some academic accommodations or support. I also work with students who may be wanting to explore if they might have a disability or something going on in terms of getting them some information in terms of if they maybe think they have ADD but were never diagnosed, a learning disability. So even if your student, doesn't have a diagnosed disability, but maybe they have had thoughts in the past of maybe some support would be helpful, setting up an appointment with me would be really beneficial. And I do like to have, if students have like an IEP or a 504 plan from high school, it is helpful for me to have that to just see what types of accommodations students had in the past, but that's not a requirement to receive accommodations. So if students don't have that paperwork anymore or have trouble finding it, it's something where we can always still meet, get them set up and go from there. So some examples of accommodations that we offer would be things like extended time for exams. We have some assistive technology for things like note-taking and reading, as well as I meet with students for some time management support. I have a big room outside of my office where the testing takes place, but during the day, students who do work with me will come in when there aren't tests going on and hang out in the space, study, do homework. We also have a designated tutor that will come to my space a couple times a week to work, more one-on-one with students who are registered with disability resources. And I always try to keep my candy supply and sparkling water supply very, very full. So I would encourage you to tell your scholar to connect with me, and they can do that by sending me an email, which is at the bottom of my slide. And I look forward to meeting anyone who might need support regarding disability and accommodations.
Great. Thank you very much, Katie. Appreciate you joining us. And now I would like to hand things over to our counselor and life skills coach at Dougherty Family College, Angela Mendez-Vanegas, to talk a little bit more about wellness and well-being at DFC.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, as Brad has mentioned, my name is Angela Mendez-Vanegas, and I am the life skills coach and counselor. I apologize if you can hear my children talking in the back. But I just wanted to give a quick overview of some of the resources that are available to your student while they're here. It's going to be very brief, and just to let you know that during the summer enrichment program, and of course through fall semester, we're going to make sure that they have thorough knowledge of where to access these things when these things are happening. So try not to worry so much. We'll make sure they get to the right place that they need or the right person. So my primary responsibility at DFC is to provide the counseling and therapeutic support. So that ranges from one-on-one individual therapy. It also goes into any type of life skill coaching, like adulting 101. So they're trying to figure out how to set up a doctor's appointment for the first time or find a medical provider, or they're thinking of housing resources because they're thinking that this might be a good time for them to decide if they want to try to live on their own or in roommates or in student housing, that kind of stuff. So there's two different ways students can access me. One is through formal scheduling, and I'll let students know how they can do that during the summer enrichment program. And then another one is if my door's open, students can just drop in. So I do have a drop-in model. So I try to make it as easy and accessible as possible for students to be able to reach me as needed. The other big resource that I want to tell families about is that we have several food options at DFC. So we do provide students with the 2 free meals a day as part of the programming here at DFC. But in addition, we also provide a monthly food shelf, a pop-up food shelf that a lot of our students, and actually a lot of the graduate students here on the Minneapolis campus utilize, that provides like fresh foods like, potatoes, onions, as well as bigger staples such as like rice, beans, bread, that kind of stuff. So that happens once a month. We also have frozen meals that are frozen microwavable meals that are available, and we put that out weekly for students, and they can just grab as they need. And then we will also be starting like an actual little food shelf that will be available on the Minneapolis campus, where it's going to house some non-perishable food items that students can grab as needed. So again, we will make sure your scholar knows where those things are. If they or if your family has a need, then we will do our best to connect them as possible. Something that is different this semester is I am expecting a child, so I will be here part of the semester, and then we will be having more of a solidified partnership with the Center for Wellbeing, which is housed on our St. Paul campus. But they will have somebody here that will be covering during that time, and I will again make sure that your scholar knows who that person is and how they can access that person. And so we will make sure that services are not really disrupted during the time I'm gone. I plan to return in January. So I just wanted to let you know that there's going to be a shift, but we will make sure that if you have a question of who to connect with, we will make sure that information is out there. In addition to the services is that we'll also provide, if there's emergency funds, students can also connect with us to access those funds. When I say emergencies, like these are things that like could impact their ability to stay in school. So a housing emergency, it's utility bills or, you know, food costs, things like that. Just remind your student if they or your family has a need, just feel free to really connect with me and the resources on campus, because we'll find ways to get them support as they need. Because of course we want them to be able to stay in school. So yeah, that's my services, and as I mentioned, you can find my information on the DFC website, and we will make sure that your scholar is fully aware of how to access somebody here at DFC.
Great, thanks, Angela. Next, we'll transition to talk a little bit about financial aid. And the financial aid counselor is Lindsay. She will be, the go-to person at Dougherty Family College for your scholar and their financial aid questions. But really quick, just wanted to touch on kind of the difference between grants versus loans. So grants are funds that might be a part of your financial aid package that you do not have to pay back. They get applied directly to your student account, and those are awarded based on your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, or the Minnesota DREAM Act when that is completed. Another option is loans. And there is a difference. Sometimes there are federal loans versus private loans that are offered, and there are subsidized versus unsubsidized loans as well. Lindsay can talk more with your scholar about the details of that. Lindsay will be doing a session with all of the scholars during their time in summer enrichment program. So if they do have specific questions about their financial aid packages, they can talk to Lindsay at any time with those questions. But loans must be paid back, whereas grants are funds that are just awarded kind of more like a scholarship. But the loans, is money that does need to get repaid back, as the student continues throughout their college. And the one thing as well about loans that is important to know is that they must be accepted before they can get dispersed into the student's account to be able to pay for the tuition. So again, if there are specific questions about that, be sure to have your scholar reach out to Lindsay, and she will be happy to answer those questions. I did want to show as well, Murphy Online is where your scholar will be able to pull up information about their financial aid. And so it looks like this. You can kind of see the banner there of what to expect for what it looks like. And there's that purple button there that says financial aid. That's where you'll find that information. But you'll want to type in banner.stthomas.edu into your browser and have your scholar log in using their UST email and password to be able to access that financial aid information. Once there, this is what it looks like. This is the Murphy Online Financial Aid page. And so you'll see there's information about your offer, your financial aid history, resources, notifications, any student requirements that might be out there for your financial aid. So this is going to be a really important resource page for your scholars to be familiar with. And as you can see there on that top row, that top menu there is the offer button, which is where you can see the student's financial aid package for the year, which will include their grants, loans, work study, and other important information. This is kind of a screenshot of what their online student account page will look like. So this one shows a no balance. If you see a balance there, there's that green make payment button that you can use to make a payment towards your account. You can see your statements there for the different statements that will be popping up throughout the year. So again, if it's a lot of information, we realize that we did want to give you a heads up to know a little bit of what these things are looking like and where they might be found. But again, Lindsay is a great person to walk you through any type of questions that you might have. So we'll make sure that your scholars get introduced to her during summer enrichment program and have those opportunities to ask questions. Finally, with regard to financial aid, we did want to mention proxy access and authorized users. So these are really two different types of access that a student can set up for a parent or guardian to be able to have more information related to financial aid. So a proxy is a third party person that a student can designate to speak to university offices like financial aid and the business office and the registrar's office. Authorized user is a designated person that your scholar would select to be able to view the student account bill. And this can also make it easier to be able to make payments and things like that with that access. There is a website that has detailed instructions for what is the difference between the proxy and the authorized user and how to go about designating that person if you wish to. So you can see that is listed there on the bottom of the screen. I will also put that link in the chat for everybody so that if you want to be able to see those instructions, you will have them. So I know that was fast, and a lot of information about financial aid, but not to worry, we have people here who can help answer those questions. So really, before we wrap up too, I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about supporting your scholar at Dougherty Family College. And this is called the W curve, and it is a research-based model that kind of shows what it's like for students when they're first transitioning into college. So if you are a college student, or if your student is kind of experiencing some ups and downs during their first year in college, that's completely normal. So really, a lot of times they start off with like this honeymoon stage where we're excited, we're meeting new people, we're ready to start on this new adventure of college, ready to be done and move on from high school and into this new phase. After a while, it's not uncommon for there to be this time period of culture shock where the scholar begins to realize that there are maybe some different expectations, still getting to know new people, and maybe it's a little more challenging. Maybe it's just a little unfamiliar still. And that adjustment period can be one of those early dips that a scholar might experience in their first year, when that reality is setting in of, oh, okay, college is different from high school, and maybe not in all the most glorified ways that I anticipated, but maybe there are some challenges that I'm facing now that I didn't expect, right? Then after that, usually there's an initial adjustment. So, kind of that bounce back, and your scholar may be beginning to settle into more of those expectations and really adjusting to, okay, there's more time that's required for me to be working on schoolwork and more studying that I have to do. So they're able to make those adjustments, and things kind of start to get back on the upward trend, and students start feeling a little bit better about how things are going. There sometimes is another dip after that, which is the mental isolation. And sometimes I think that comes out when the scholar is maybe feeling a little bit like they're missing their friends from high school, or maybe some of their friends from high school didn't continue in college, and so there's kind of this dealing with like expectations of friends who want them to spend more time outside of school hanging out and stuff like that. And sometimes students are like understanding that they do need to spend more time studying and doing the work, and that can be kind of make them feel like I'm alone, I'm in this by myself, or my friends don't understand what I'm going through. And so there's kind of that feeling of loneliness that sometimes sets in for scholars as they're adjusting to college. So really, that's part of what we really pride ourselves on at Dougherty Family College, is supporting students to feel connected with one another, and hopefully minimizing that sense of mental isolation. And then typically we see students begin to integrate more to the university and to Dougherty Family College, really finding that sense of comfort and getting more established friend groups, feeling more comfortable with their faculty, with their professors, and the people who are here to support them. And that helps them kind of find that balance that makes it feel a little more comfortable to be in college and feeling adjusted and ready for taking on, all those academic challenges that they're excited about taking. So all that to say, there may be ups and downs in the first year of college. That's totally normal. And just know that we are aware of that, and we want you all to be aware of that as you support your scholars, and making sure that they're asking for help, that they're getting the help that they need, because that's, if you don't take away anything else from this presentation today, we want to make sure that your scholars feel comfortable and just ask for help if they need it. Because there are plenty of people at Dougherty Family College who, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, is to answer your questions and to get you the support that you need. Some of the habits of success versus habits of struggle that we've noticed at Dougherty Family College. Again, asking for help, which is huge, and it's something that we cannot stress enough, versus pretending help is not needed, and kind of trying to fight through it by yourself. That sometimes is a pathway towards disappointment and towards continued challenge, when you have people here who are eager to help. We really try to encourage scholars to prioritize school as much as possible. We know that there sometimes are work commitments, and we understand that, but we also just want to encourage students to maybe look for some opportunities for on-campus employment, and trying to make sure that we have as much time as possible for academic commitments, because it is a lot of work, transitioning to college, and we want students to be aware of that and be ready to take that step forward. Seek out those growth opportunities, encourage your scholar to look for new opportunities, try new things, join new clubs, because those are going to be those things that help set them apart when it comes to graduating and getting out there into the work world. Grades are certainly important, but so also are taking advantage of other opportunities that are out there. So your scholar will get a lot of information about opportunities and programs and things that they can join. So we encourage you to encourage them to take advantage of those things. And then finally, I would say we encourage scholars to challenge themselves to get stronger rather than waiting for or expecting things to get easier. Because as they go throughout, their first 2 years at Dougherty Family College, that is going to be something that is expected. The work, will continue to kind of build on itself. And we encourage all students to continue and get their bachelor's degree as well. So, establishing some of those good habits early on will make it easier when they continue their academic pursuits. I also like to show this slide as well. It just shows that the attainment of a college degree is really important because not only does it increase your earning potential financially, it also decreases the likelihood that you will face unemployment in your career. So you can see here, it only goes up with the more education that scholars attain. So this decision to join Dougherty Family College and this decision to enter higher education is a really important one, and one that we're proud that your scholar has chosen us to be a part of that journey, and we're excited to support them in that pursuit. So what you can do is really important. We know that our scholars would not be here at the doorstep without the support of the people around them. And so first and foremost, just thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for the support that you offer your scholars. And just wanted to share a few things that you can do and be on the lookout for is changes in behavior. So if you notice that there are major differences now with your scholar in terms of how much they're sleeping, some of their eating patterns, their moods. Some of those things can be signs of stress. And if they are experiencing those things, get in touch with us. We can make sure that they're supported with some of the mental health and counseling support that Ms. Mendez Venegas was mentioning and that we offer. Also important to help make sure that your scholar has the accommodations that they need. So if that extended time for exams or testing in distraction-reduced areas is going to be helpful, make sure that we get you in touch with Katie, who spoke earlier about the supports that are available through disability resources. We definitely encourage, and we've seen the students who take advantage of those resources have success, and it makes a difference for them, and they are able to improve their academic results. So do not be shy about reaching out and asking about those things. And then really just continuing to provide that positive encouragement. Your support means so much to us. It means so much to your scholars to know that they have that person behind them who's cheering them on and really encouraging them to do their best and give their all to their academic pursuits while they're here. A couple last things that I wanted to mention before you go is the campus ESP family portal. So you should see a QR code on your screen, and that will be a link to get signed up for a family and loved one newsletter that gets sent to you as often as you like. You can decide if it comes like every week, every 2 weeks, every month. So you can sign up and get more information about what it might be helpful for you to know for your scholar while they're here at DFC. So we post on there different updates and information about events and other good things to know. So when you do sign up, be sure to select to join the Dougherty Family College community and indicate that your scholar is attending the 2-year college so that you can get all that relevant information as it relates to DFC. You can see a glimpse of what that campus ESP family portal looks like. So it's kind of like a feed, sort of like your Facebook or whatever social media, Instagram, and then we will publish new information that gets posted up there so that you can see news articles, updates about events, and important dates and things like that. And then last thing before Q&A, I promise. We want to stay engaged with you and make sure that we are doing the best we can to support your scholars. And so part of a way for us to do that is to invite you to be a part of our Family and Loved Ones Advisory Group. And so the QR code on your screen now, if you scan it, you can sign up to express your interest in joining this group. So we'll meet and can bring this group together monthly, quarterly, whatever works best for the group. But to really find out what are some of the things that you're noticing, what are some of the things that your scholar is experiencing, and how can we maybe do a better job? How can we improve? How can we adjust to make sure that your scholar is supported and that you feel supported, and that you feel your questions are being answered, that are really important to us. So please consider signing up to join our Family and Loved Ones Advisory Group using that QR code to sign up. So with that, we will open it for a few minutes of Q&A. So if anybody has any questions at all, please feel free to unmute yourself. You can turn your video on if you want to ask your questions, but we are happy to answer any that might be out there at this time.
Hi, I just wanted to know if you guys are posting somewhere all of these resources and explanation, like all of this PDF document.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. The best way for us to get you this information, I think, is going to be if we can get you signed up on that campus ESP platform where you get the newsletter. That's where we can send out all the information about resources, signing up for things. We are recording this presentation as well, so that will be another place where we post the recording of this. So if you want to review it later, watch it back in case you missed something, you can definitely get that information. But that's going to be the best way, is through that campus ESP platform. So strongly encourage getting signed up for that. Of course, your students will have access to a lot of information and resources through their student access to our internal websites and things like that. But for family and loved ones, that Family Campus ESP portal is going to be the best way for you to get the most up-to-date information.
Dean Pullis, we had a question in the chat from Cindy and
Oh.
Kai, I believe, and that is, thank you for your appreciation for the session. And do you plan to have future sessions for families, or should that be through the advisory council?
Yeah, great question. I think we would love to explore that with the people who are engaged with our advisory group, to figure out like what kinds of things would families be interested in participating in. Is it another virtual Zoom type of session? Is it something in person? So yeah, we would love to engage some of those questions and explore what other types of sessions might be helpful for you all. I do see the question about parking as well. So we do have some limited options for parking on the Minneapolis campus. And so your scholar may have seen an invitation to apply for one of our limited parking permits that we are able to approve. And so have them keep an eye on that email. I did have a link to that application in there. And, we'll be communicating with students in the next few days if we are able to approve them to purchase one of the parking permits to be able to park on campus. If not, there is like street parking available. I know it's a little bit less convenient, but it is an option. There is also a shuttle bus between the St. Paul and Minneapolis campus that students can take to get here. In addition to, using that Metro Transit College Pass that we offer that will be given to every student. So the parking, yes, if a scholar is approved to purchase a parking permit, they can use it during the summer enrichment program. Students can still park in the ramp, but it's just daily parking if they aren't given a permit. So, they would just pull a ticket and be able to enter the parking ramp that way, and then pay on their way out. Another question about parking, how do students know if they receive a spot? They will expect to receive an email from me saying that either way, if they applied, either yes, we have been able to approve you for a parking permit, or, I'm sorry, no, we can't approve you for a permit. Here are the other options that are available to you. What else? I saw something about Murphy Online. What is the difference between Murphy Online and the new Murphy Online page? It's just the different layout, really. That's the main difference. They just look a little bit differently. So I think if you can kind of try to familiarize yourself with the new one, that's the one that will be coming with like newer features, and that the tech department will be continuing to update. So I recommend using the newer one if you have sort of the choice to look at one or the other. But the main difference is I think that they'll be just in a little bit different viewing layout, and they'll be probably continuing to add more features and new updates to the newer Murphy Online. I'm getting a question about the link to the campus ESP. So yes, I can try to get that sign up link to you. Other questions?
Can I jump in here? I had one from somebody kind of offline who asked how many classes will freshmen take? And along those lines, there was one other. First year students take 3 classes, both semesters, that are worth 4 credits each, which means they each meet twice a week for 2 hours. And they take 2 classes that are 2 credits each, so they each meet once a week for 2 hours. So it's a extended time period, but it is manageable. And students usually have classes in the mornings at 9 to 11 and in the afternoons 1 to 3, with 2 blocks throughout the week where they don't have a class. So either a morning or an afternoon, they will not take a class.
Awesome, thank you. And I just put the link to the sign up in for Campus ESP in the chat. So that link, you just need to enter your first name, last name, email, set up a password, and click the create account button, and that should get you on your way. So I hope that's helpful.
I got one more too about pre-STEM, and I'm so glad that was asked because I forgot to share. So last year, DFC launched a pre-STEM program, concentration. So it's still the liberal arts associate's degree, but students can take up to 4 classes in math or science on the St. Paul campus. So it's a rigorous program. There is an application. If you think you might be interested in the pre-STEM program, we had the application go out some time ago, but we are offering an orientation or opportunities information session on Monday, the first day of SEP at 3 p.m. So it'll be about 30 minutes while you'll learn more about it. And then students do need to get a certain score on a math placement test, and that will be Wednesday. So if you think you're interested in pre-STEM, Stick around right after SEP on Monday at 3 for the orientation, and then plan on taking a placement test on Wednesday.
Great questions. I'm seeing one about a school calendar, so I am going to put that in the chat as well. Dougherty Family College follows the same academic calendar as the University of St. Thomas. So I'm going to put that in the chat because it has some of the important dates to keep in mind, dates that the university is closed for holidays and things like that. So we will be posting that kind of information. You will see that kind of information on the campus family portal as well. But just for your convenience, I did just put it in the chat as a response to that question there. Anything we've missed, anything we haven't? Oh, for the student ID pickup, do we get an email on our personal or the new school email? I believe so. That one should have come from admissions. And I believe admissions is typically sending those emails to both your personal email and your UST email. It's a great question. I would check both, whatever you listed as your personal email and your UST email. And again, that should have come from the admissions office. And I think the first day that they sent that out was like July 25th or something like that. So, look back, it might be a few weeks back, but that information should be from the admissions office. And I hope that helps answer the question.
And Dean Pullis, there is another one about, is there an alternate way to get the ID because folks have been working during the hours available?
Yes, so we will have opportunities for you to get your ID on the Minneapolis campus when you show up for summer enrichment program next week. So, we don't have that as a specific part of the schedule, but during some downtime or during lunch or something like that, we can make sure that you have time to go pick up an ID that way. We just have been encouraging people to pick them up early if possible, just because it's, one less thing to do once we have everybody with us during summer enrichment program, and it won't be such a long line for people waiting to get that done. So we do understand if you can't go pick it up. So that would be fine. Okay. Is there anything we missed? Because that chat was flying with a bunch of questions. I was trying to do it, trying to keep an eye on things as best I could. Anything we missed?
Oh, there is one that just came in. Sorry. Do scholars have to take classes during J term? You all are really prepared and thinking ahead. I'm very impressed. So our schedule is traditional semester, fall and spring. We do have classes like the wider university, both in J term or January term, which is the month of January, obviously between the fall and the spring semesters. We also offer classes in the summer sessions. There are 2 of those. However, different from the rest of the university, our classes that are offered in J term and summer are only retake opportunities, meaning a student who failed a class can retake it in January or in summer. Those classes are online. They are an additional fee in addition to tuition. So we hate to see people have to retake a class. However, to graduate from DFC, students do need to pass all of their courses and maintain a 2.0 GPA. So if a student fails a class, they will need to retake it in the J term or the summer. If you don't fail any classes and your GPA is a 2.0 or above, you're great. You don't have to take any courses in the J term or summer.
Great question. The question about number to call for financial aid, I put Lindsay's phone number in there, so you can reach her office by dialing that 651 number. Excellent questions, everybody. If there are any more, please feel free to reach out, email or, give us a call here at Dougherty Family College. We'll be happy to answer any questions. But that's really it. We look forward to seeing you on Monday. Scholars, again, nothing you need to really bring other than that positive attitude. So we look forward to welcoming you and getting started on your college journey. So really appreciate your engagement, your questions, your attention this evening. And we'll look forward to seeing your scholars on Monday morning. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.